Hello and welcome to another insightful and enlightening episode of African Student Voices on AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa. And my name is Ajaman Otredako. Counting on the times we've had COVID-19 bringing a lot of issues to our living, not only for parents and guardians, but also for students. Students will be resuming very soon. And one of the issues with the anxiety is how they could attain funding for their education now that we're in COVID-19. Wouldn't have more of traditional learning. We'll be having a blended of a short learning where you can be on campus and also at home with your online studies, your laptop and data. These will call for extra costs, and how can students keep up with these costs on campus when we resume very soon? So I'm here to discuss this with you. I have the National University of Ghana students with me in the house to discuss ways and means we could get financial aid support for students during these times. And we believe we could exhaust this very well so you could know what to do to keep yourself up on campus when you resume. Don't go anywhere, we'll be right back after a short break.
Accra Institute of Technology is a top-notch private university in Ghana. The university offers world-class bachelor's, master's, and PhD degree programs.
IT and management is one of the good courses I think we should offer these days, because I realized that on my years of experience on the IT field, I realized that IT guys find it very difficult to cope with the management aspect. And AIT is giving us the opportunity to do IT and management. We dive into programming, I did HR, I did principal management, and all this one is giving me the opportunity to be able to communicate with my manager. So when we are talking about IT, I know that I'm talking about something technical, and I can also talk about management, which is also another dimension of corporate institution. So with all this, I think AIT is giving us a very nice opportunity.
We are AIT, the University of the Future.
Welcome back to African Student Voices. My name is Ajaman Otredako. And if you're watching me, just joined us. It is African Student Voices AAU TV, the voice of higher education in Africa. And we're addressing all the financial aid systems available for students now, during and after COVID-19. And with me in the studio is the president for the National Union of Ghana Students, Mr. Isaac J. Hyde. You're welcome to African Student Voices.
Thank you very much.
Sure, he's been with us all this while. And today it's very important. Students out there are really looking forward for some issues on finances and financial aid. We know there's an already existing fund, that's the Student Loan Trust Fund,
Right.
that is serving the need. We think that there could be more in the body, but let's start with the first one. How convenient is it for students in Ghana to access these financial support systems?
Right. Thank you very much, and greetings to your cherished viewers.
Yeah.
And most especially my constituents, my colleague students. Education financing is quite a challenge across the world, and Ghana is of no exception. But I think we are equally fortunate to have the Student Loan Secretariat, who its establishment is to provide funding for education in the country. Except that, over the period, there has been challenges with sensitization as to people getting to know the real source. I think general perception had been that the student loan is for poor people who will not be able to pay their fees and other things. So you have the loan avenue being there, yet still people are sacked from classroom and lectures and examinations because they've not been able to pay their fees, whereas that alternative is there. But the student loan is not enough. We need other avenues as well. But we've also seen the financial sector also coming up with fee support systems, because when you're looking at education financing, you're not looking at those in tertiary. The primary school students, they may not be able to go directly to take a loan to finance or their education, but the avenue must be created for their parents to be able to access some of this funding for their students. You're also looking at scholarships. All these things are there. The banks are giving some of these offers, but we need to translate it in order for it to reach the targeted market.
What we've been hearing of late is that accessing the student loan is quite frustrating. In your view, is this the case?
Well, for me, I think that I have to be honest. I have never accessed a student loan throughout my academic life, but when I was behind, I think that I also held the same opinion. I was with a friend who tried to assess it, and there were so many questions, the demands, blah, blah. But when I got into this office, or going into this office, I decided to do more research about it.
Yeah.
And then I got to know that the some of the questions or the feedback that is demanded from their outfit is to help them grade you based on your needs, because now funding is provided based on a need-to-need basis.
Sure.
I mean, it's not like a general amount. So the higher the challenge is based on the answers you provide, the higher the amount of money you have to be allocated to.
Okay.
And so this is one of the challenges. I mean, I think that if you look at scholarships as well, some also perceive that you need to know someone before you can have access to some of these things and all. So I have to be honest. I think the general perception is that it's cumbersome, it's difficult. I mean, it's frustrating and all. I think that we also need to hit a bit that sometimes the delay in disbursement also frustrates people a bit.
Yeah.
And so it makes it difficult for people to want to step forward for some of the funding.
You bear with me that very soon we'll have a great number of students being churned up from the senior high level to tertiary level if they wish to pursue that to that extent. And we now with COVID-19 around us, we wouldn't have to do more of the traditional learning. We'll do more of a blended type where online studies will come in. Funds to buy data, funds to buy devices will be an issue. Do you think that the trust fund we have now is ready for this number of students who are coming?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you look at the sources of funding for the trust fund, it comes from 3 different avenues. We have communication service tax. 1% of that amount goes to the student loan secretariat. Cap 10% of monies that goes to Get Fund. In terms of the allocation from the government into education, there's sub amount that goes to Get Fund. A cap of 10% in between that range on what is decided within the period also goes to the student loan. And then lastly, it also has to do with paybacks in terms of people who have been beneficiaries of the loan are now working and they are paying back. All this money goes into financing that future people who would want to access the loan. I think if you just look at it from that end, there's enough for everybody. Okay. But it's not just the avenue, or it's not just for the want of an effort that, yes, we'll be able to provide you with funding. It must show on the grounds that when people need the money, they get access to it. Or when disbursements are needed, it is made available to the students. And I think that has been a challenge. I have no doubt that the Student Loan Secretariat has got the ability to provide funding for everybody, except that the disbursement each and every time has been the problem, because it's also not so much them. Funding has to come from the government of Ghana through the Ministry of Finance. And so when you have sometimes fiscal challenges like economic issues or like the COVID situation we find ourselves, for which reason government expected revenue from 63 million has to reduce to, let's say, 67 to 53, then it means it creates a problem. And so that's one. Of course, then scholarship. I've also seen that the scholarship secretariat is doing a wonderful job. I mean, it has been disseminated or, decentralized to the district offices so that the people who are assessing the people who need it will be able to personalize it. At least you know that, okay, this person, you will be able to narrow down the person's needs because the person is within your, jurisdiction. Rather than somebody sitting in Accra assessing somebody in Toulon as to whether or not the person needs scholarship. I think that's also one aspect. You also have private avenues. We should not forget the support of the churches, our mosque, the philanthropists. All these things are mediums by which education is being financed. I believe the avenue is there, except that, maybe focus should go to the Student Loan Secretariat because they have a certain statutory obligation to make sure that students get access to loans. So that will improve upon funding. I think that it will be smooth.
Well, the reach of this financial support, would one say, does it go to the private institutions as well, the private universities? Do they also benefit, like how public universities benefit from these financial supports?
Yes. As student loan, there's no discrimination. Every student across the country is given equal access. And like I said, the good thing is that a private university student is even likely to get higher than a public university because the private university students will have to pay more.
Okay.
And so based on the information that you provide, it's also important that when filling some of these forms, you take critical attention to the information you provide. The person will not come and ask you, okay, so so how much do you need or something. But there are relevant questions that give a certain matrix that is used to assess based on the answers you provide, and that determines the amount of money that is allocated to you.
Considering the issue of foreign students, they now school with us in our institutions. Is there any consideration for such students in assessing such support system in any way? If they want that sort of a loan or something, are they also considered?
Apart from scholarships, loans are supposed to be paid back. It's not for free.
Yeah.
And so there are conditions attached such that if you take a loan from a student loan secretariat, after 2 years, you're supposed to start paying back. I don't know how a foreigner will be able to take this money and pay back. And so it hasn't really, I don't see the possibility of that happening because you need to provide guarantors who are with the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, which is SNET as guarantors. Somebody must grant for you, somebody on the scheme must grant for you and all that. I don't know how a foreigner will be able to do that. As it stands now, it is for only Ghanaians. I mean, if we even go beyond the borders of Ghana, where you see the Ghana Education Trust Fund and then the National Scholarship Secretariat providing funding for Ghanaian students to go and study outside or in the bid to support education financing. I believe that foreigners would also have something like that in their countries, or should have something like that in the country. But as it stands now, the government of Ghana is not in a position to do that. Or it doesn't. I don't know. I don't see the possibility because there are students here who need those opportunities, and to the extent that the loan is not for free, they would have to pay back.
Yeah.
You need guarantees as to how the people are going to pay back, and so for foreigners, no.
Hi there, welcome to African Student Voice. Just joined us. I'm here with the president for the National Union of Ghana Students, J. Hyde. We're talking about addressing issues with financial support for students during and after COVID-19, and we have more to talk about. Don't go anywhere. We'll wrap up this short pause to continue.
This is Africa's most friendly nation, Ghana. A warm reception awaits you in an environment where you can discover and harness your full potential. Your home is an academic haven lying northeast of the city center, a quick dash from the airport. A spirited community where young, vibrant minds are empowered to express themselves, break academic boundaries, and thrive in an atmosphere of rich cultural heritage and excellence in various collegiate and extracurricular activities.
Welcome back on African Student Voice on AATV, the voice of higher education in Africa, and we're still discussing addressing financial support systems for students during and after COVID-19. And I'm here with the president for the National Union of Ghana Students, J. Hyde, and we're on the discussion. So, Jay, let's go back to what we have. We only have the trust fund, the student loan trust fund. What are some of the bottlenecks that the trust fund is facing that perhaps may hinder it or the institution from doing much more for students in Ghana?
Okay, so one, as I stated earlier, has to do with the release of funds to the secretariat.
Yeah.
So maybe the ministries of finance or government release of funding to, the secretariat. But inherently, there's also this problem where, per the structure of the disbursement, institutions have to provide data of students who have registered for the semester.
Okay.
Because you don't want a situation where somebody signs up for the loan from level 100, level 200, he decides not to go to school again. He goes to sit in the house, and monies are still going to the said person.
Okay.
The purpose of the money is to finance education, and so it can only be used for payment of school fees or any other auxiliary materials that is
education related.
Education related. And so the loan secretary has a way of verifying if the student is registered for the period, and that is to say that the institution must send data of students who are registered for the period. What it also means is that more often than not, you would have to register so that the money is paid back to you later.
Okay.
You understand? So that when you get your money, maybe you can go and offset wherever you got your money from. I think that is a major challenge because more often than not, a number of students are not able to satisfy this criteria of having to pay themselves. They need the loan in order to register. And so it's creating a bit of a challenge. And so in the long run, we'll need to find a way where monies can be made available for the students. And also, it's not necessarily the fault of the secretariat, because the contract of the loan disbursement is between the student and the secretariat, not the school.
Okay.
So the school has no business knowing as and when the students have been paid, apart from information that is put out there. We have proposed a number of ways by which this can be addressed. But in the long run, I think that we need to find a way where loans can be made available on time, so that it won't have to be dependent on somebody having to register so that the person is reimbursed. What the Student Loan Secretariat was doing was that it used to speak to management when some of the delays happen, so that the students are registered, so that when the monies are paid to them later, they can go and pay back. You know, we as usual as students, sometimes I know you make some of these interventions, and then because the money does not go to the school, go to the students. The students are made to register. If you don't take it, the money is given to them, and they don't go and pay. You understand? Because it's registered already, which then becomes a problem. So, and it's a matter of goodwill. If that happens, the next time you speak to management, they will not want to, allow some of these things. And so these are some of the challenges. We have proposed a number of ways by which we think that this can be addressed, and I think that as and when the time comes, we would let that out. Unless, of course, you also want to go into it.
Yeah, many years, I think 4 years ago, the lecture hall one day at UPSA, I saw these personnel from the Student Loan Trust Fund apparently begging us to sign up, that we should sign up, we should take interest in it. But we were afraid. The perception was that, well, who wants to acquire a loan and later on be held back and held on and pestered if there's no money to pay back? What is the payment condition? Because some people, I'm afraid that if I don't get a job right after school, or if anything happens to me and I can't work and pay, I might lose something so dear to me. What are the conditions? Because we need to help sanitize students on the conditions so they could feel free to access to do the most important things that they have to do on campus.
One, I have to be honest. I mean, I have lost track of the data, but I know it's a compound interest. I also know that you don't pay immediately after school. You have 2 years after school in order to pay.
Okay.
And the loan office is also very accessible. You can reach out to them to negotiate how you want it to be done. Recently, they even started some means by which people in the informal sector could be paying via mobile money. So, I mean, all these things, these avenues are there. But like I said, contrary to what we used to have, myself, I mean, somewhere 2014 when I was in undergrad, I used to see them come around. Now it has shifted from more or less like persuasion to education, so that people understand what it means to have private means or informal means like the secretariat funding your loan, your education, so that when you start working, you pay back. And it seems to be working because the numbers are appreciating day in, day out.
You know, you agree that we're not in normal times now. Things have changed. Education, perhaps now in these times, may have a different outlook in terms of expenditure. Also, some students will not have to be on campus all the time. You would have to have a laptop, data provision, and have access to learning anywhere you want to be. And also, if you're on campus too, you have to have somewhere to lay your head. Things may change. Do you think the Student Loan Trust Fund will need to undergo a review to have now special policies for students to access these loans on some unique conditions, or will still go with the old way? Is there any for a review?
Yes, I think that periodically the act is reviewed, but I would also like to indicate that just when COVID started, the Student Loan Secretariat, together with my outfit, the National of Ghana Students, came up with this initiative to provide laptops for students.
Okay.
And so, as it stands now...
When did it start?
Oh,
right at the beginning?
Yeah, so everything is finalized. Going into September, students have started. If you go on their website, you can just go provide all the necessary details from within this period. Well, especially when e-learning became a factor, realize that within the Act, education and whatever it's needed to make education possible is part of the mandate of the Secretariat.
Okay.
And so the first aspect has to do with providing a student the means for them to be able to study.
Okay.
And so now laptops are going to be made available. So for instance, if you have a disbursement of, let's say, 2,500 and you need a laptop, it is equally part of the loan.
Okay.
So you'll be giving, let's say, 1,500, then 1,000 goes into the disbursement. It could also be spread across a 4-year period by which you are going to be a beneficiary of the loan of a sort, or depending on the number of years, because some people do not start taking the loan from level 100, some 200. It's only final years who I think are not allowed onto the scheme. And so what you do is that you just go online, you provide the necessary information, and then you pick up your laptop from your district office or whatever. You don't pay anything. It's just part of the original loan process. I don't know, but I think that maybe as we go on, we need to also look at innovative ways by which some of these things, is it not just laptops that will be needed. I believe that there was some negotiations with the telcos to provide, let's say, a modem or inbuilt SIM card system that makes the connecting to the internet straight away. And so these are some of the innovative ways that my outfit together with the loan secretariat are working on. We also proposed the need for a mobile application that holds students' information so that we avoid the instance where management will be wanting to sack students for not paying fees when at the time the student loan secretariat had not been disbursed. And also we also want to avoid a situation where loans are given to the students, and because some goodwill, management had allowed the students register in anticipation that when the money is paid, the students will be paid. And eventually when the money is paid, the student doesn't go and pay. You know, some of these things, the back and forth doesn't help anybody. So we've made a proposal to the secretariat that we've got a mobile application that we want to partner the outfit to get this done, with the hope that, or the solution we want to provide is like a third-party medium where a certain level of information will be shared between management and the loan secretariat and the students. You know, because as it stands now, that relationship is between the loan secretariat and the student, not with management. And so now we have created a medium by which these three parties can share common information, so that students will not have to wait for loans to be paid. In case there's a delay, management is aware of that relevant information. Some of the information can be hosted online, so that student loan secretariat is also aware of who has registered and who has not. You get it? Because that's a challenge. We need to know that you are a student before we give you the money. Management will have to know that indeed the money has not been paid to you, and the fault is not the student, it's from student loan. Student loan can also engage management and say, okay, yes, this person is our responsibility, but the money is not ready. Now let the person register. When the money is ready, we would inform you, the money goes to the student so that it pays. And that medium is what the app seeks to do. And we are hoping that before the end of our administration, we shall implement this project with the support of the Student Loan Secretariat.
That sounds so innovative for times like these. This is for students out there who is very anxious. How can I get my laptop right now? So if you could take us through the procedure again. So first things first, I'm ready for university. I want to acquire a laptop and get data. Where do I start from?
Okay, so first of all, you need to sign up onto the student loan.
Okay.
You understand? I mean, you sign up for school fees, but you want your school fees to be used to buy a laptop for you. That's it. Just go onto the student loan platform, website, provide the relevant information, follow the due protocol. You can as well walk into the offices. I mean, almost every campus in Ghana has a student loan officer within that outfit. You can walk into the office, just inform them that this is your interest, or perhaps you can even reach out to us at our secretariat. We'll help facilitate the process for you to acquire the laptop. It's not a cumbersome process, just some simple information, provide the relevant documents, and then we'll make sure you get a laptop spread across a period that is convenient enough for you to be able to pay back. And then you can go ahead and study without any challenge. We're also anticipating that COVID has also ushered in a new era of education. And so now more than ever, learning management systems and e-learning is going to be very paramount. And so we advise that students should take advantage of this opportunity in order not to stress themselves and their parents, or the era that people complain that I don't have a laptop, I don't have these gadgets. This has become essential materials for education. And so we have sought to cure that problem, and that is why together with the Student Loan Secretariat, we've launched this initiative.
That's splendid. So if you just joined us, it is African Student Voice, and I'm here with the president for the National Union of Ghana Students, Mr. J. Hyde, and we spoke about the issues concerning the Student Loan Trust Fund and other support systems that could help students access funds on campus to, enhance their education. And believe me, we've said it all. He said it all, that now you don't have to go through any difficulty in acquiring a laptop. There is already things in place for you to get your laptop and data to have your success in education, and there wouldn't be any reason for you to go through any hard times. So just go onto the Student Loan Trust Fund website, sign up, and also, or perhaps you can link up to the news platform to get your laptop. Believe me, we don't have to wait and let this pass by. Get your laptop, your data, and start school as possible. Thank you very much for watching the show and bringing your questions. If there are anything you want to know, we'll let Jay Hyde know about, and also get you the feedback as possible. It's been African Student Voice. My name is Ajaman Ochodako. Just keep watching AETV and African Student Voice. Hope to catch you next time with another insightful and interactive episode. Have a nice day and bye.